What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Zay. Welcome back to Setup Sunday. My, oh my, are the Bulls back? Don't call it a comeback. The market is popping, y'all. What is really good going on? I cannot wait to get into what is going to happen this week or what we need to pay attention to. So just to recap, you know what I'm saying? Last week, the S&P hit all-time highs, the Dow hit all-time highs, and the Nasdaq went and tested 14,000, pretty much close to all-time highs. Wow, didn't see that coming. And I really believe that this week it's about to get even more popping. And that leads us into the topic for this week, which is, and this is actually something I owe y'all. So we're gonna go through, and if you got E-Trade, you lucky. For those who don't have E-Trade, I still think you should watch the video because it's definitely something, you know, that you need to practice. So we're gonna talk about the profit and loss tool, or the exit plan tool in Power E-Trade. So everybody that got E-Trade, I'm gonna show you how to use the exit plan tool that's in E-Trade. I think it's really dope. It's going to help you set a stop loss as well as a profit target, because things are about to get hot and heavy and you don't want to get caught holding the bag. All right, so of course we're going to get into the topics to look out for. We get into the charts of the week, we'll get into a chart of the week, and we'll keep this thing rolling. So of course, if you like this video, don't forget to press that like button as well as subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to press that notification bell so every time we drop an episode, you are in the know. So without further ado, let's get into the topics, y'all. All right, guys. So you already know how we like to kick it off. We like to start with the article of the week. Now, this week, I'm really not feeling this article, guys. I read it and I feel like they're trying to make something out of nothing. Now, the truth is, we're about to go to a very important earnings season. For the next 2 weeks, we're going to have some of the top companies reporting. We're talking about Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Netflix. I mean, FANG, right? The companies that move the market. And we are expecting that these companies are going to have blowout earnings. And if they do, best believe the market is going to take off. And I believe they do. And that's why, and like I said in the intro, I think it's going to get real. So I'm not even going to really waste our time with this article. It really is, you know, they're talking about we need to pay attention to the bonds, pay attention to signs of any inflation within profit margins of certain companies. So yeah, those are things that we definitely need to pay attention to. As an investor, you should always be aware of your risk. And I think those are certain risks that play into the market right now. But when you look at the flip side of everything that's going well right now, and just knowing where everything stands as far as with the Fed and just just all the money that's been pumped into the system, it's just, you can't fight it right now. So are there risks? Yeah, but there's always going to be risk with risk comes reward. So right now we're going to be rewarded for taking certain risks. So if you really want to dig deeper into this article, guys, as you know, I usually drop, or I have the link down in the description of the video, so you can definitely click or go down in the description and click there to read more. But again, I don't really think you're going to see much in there outside of what we just kind of talked about. So with that being said, I do want to get into our charts of the week that I've been so looking forward to getting into. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and transition over into our charts of the week. All right, so we are going to kick it off with the Nasdaq. And again, the Nasdaq, I believe we said 13,772 was going to be our support. It was. And our weekly target was 14,100 is what we said last week, or what I said last week. And for those who continue to watch every episode, I'm saying we because I include y'all, right? So we was 50 points shy of our target. So where do we go from here? I think going into this upcoming week, and if I go just down to the day, just so you guys can see, yeah, I think we could be possibly headed, if we get a close over this 14,178, it's pretty much all blue skies to about 14,400. I think that's where the Nasdaq is ultimately headed, 14,400. So whether it's this week or next week, but into these next 2 weeks, because like I said, we're about to have a really big earnings season, and into these next 2 weeks, these are going to be very important. So we could definitely see the Nasdaq run up these next 2 weeks as high as this 14.4 because of great earnings due to certain companies.
And so as far as what we need to just watch for this week is just it's really just upside. Hey, do we get a close above this 14,100? If we do, ultimately, do we push above 14,175? And if then, it's just ride it till the wheels fall off. I mean, really, there's no signs right now of any downside pressure coming in, except for little shakeouts. But for the most part, enjoy the ride up. So that is the Nasdaq for the week. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get into the Qs. Boom. So let's get into our Qs. So if we go back to our weekly, same situation. Last week I called out 340 was our target. It went above and hit 342. I also mentioned that end of the month I thought we'd get to about 345, 350. So that still seems to be tracking true. So if we look at it as far as targets for this week, again, we pretty much have broken or closed at all-time highs. So now the first target is getting up to about this 345 or so, 346, 345. If we hold 345, that clears us to go to 350. So I definitely be looking for 345 by the end of this week on the Qs. Possibly could push 350. Even if we hit 350, we might just retreat and finish the week at 345 or so. And so for that is the Qs for the week. Let's get into the SPY or the SPX. I'm sorry, SPX. So looking at the SPX, go to our weekly. We like to start off weekly. And again, I think the level we had was 41.51. We completely blown that out. I think from here, the SPX, it clearly looks like it's on its way to 4,300. If we look at the daily chart here, and if you guys checked out my Elliott Waves episode, if not, I'm going to put the link here so you can check that out. The Elliott Waves episode, we are clearly on the third wave of a Elliott wave structure because we essentially had a correction, and now, well, actually, if we look, and I'm gonna break it down for you, right? So if this is the start of the third wave, this was 2, this was 1. So correction was here, right? We had a correction that happened between early March, and then from here we ran up a little bit, and then we had a retest, which was so wave 1, and this was so dope. We had, where's that? I'm gonna show you trend lines. So we had wave 1, and then we got wave 2 right here, and then on the SPY we are now running for wave 3, which we know is usually the longest wave, right? And so we'll have a wave 4, or we do like a little dip, but then we're going to push some more a little bit higher. So right now we're in the midst of wave 3 from a bigger trend perspective, based on what I see when it comes to the SPX. So for the SPX, it does look like it's on its way to about 4,300. So the levels I'll be paying attention to is 4,200 first. If we close above 4,200, that puts us in sights for about 4,240. And if we close above 4,240, then that puts us at about 4,300. And this is all within about the next 2 weeks. So, we do these on weekly episodes. So that's what I'm kind of looking at on the SPX, guys. Again, always protect your downside. So for the downside on the SPX, we're looking at 41.85, as well as about, I would bump this up to about 41.18. That's what we're looking at. So let's get into the SPY. So SPY, that's a daily. Let's look at our weekly first. So again, the weekly, we've kind of just killed all our levels, 415. And cool thing is, if you go back and check out, I believe it was the episode on the 28th as well, right when we closed at 398, right when we closed at 398, I said, hey, that would be our resistance. If we can close above 398, that's going to let us go to about 400 beyond, with like 410, 415 being the max. Depending on how high we could go. Well, I was kind of wrong because we're now past 415, and I think we're actually going to go even higher. So what I'm looking for the SPY this week, as you can see, we're still at all-time highs. So we closed at 417. Really, the next target is 420. If we get a close above 420, that should put us for a nice run towards 425. So that's what you want to pay attention to on the SPY. Downside protection down to this 415, and really it's going to be right here around this I'd say 414, 413 is where you probably have some support, but for the most part, it looks like we're pretty much going to the upside. I wouldn't even fight it. So 420 and 425 are going to be your targets for the week on the SPY. All right, for the Dow Jones, the DIA ETF that we've been tracking. Again, this is at all-time highs. I went back and looked. I think every time I've been a little bearish, all we get is a small pullback. 335 is all we got. I think when I watched the episode last week, I was thinking we could come down to somewhere around, I think I said 335, maybe even 331 or something. That's about all we did. And then after that, it was a quick pop and we ran back up to this 340. So, the Dow Jones is the one that I'm paying attention to, or this DIA, because I don't know if the Dow is going to continue to keep running while tech is running. So this is one where I'm actually thinking we actually do start to retrace a little bit. If we don't start to retrace, then of course you can see 347 is ultimately the next level that it's going to be aiming for. But wow, I really just, man, if the Dow runs to that high, to 357 or 347, 350, from a weekly perspective, I just want to show you why I'm just kind of a little cautious, is that it's going to make it now approximately 8.5% above its 20-day weekly moving average. And typically when it's that far away from its moving average, it tends to have a red week. So yeah, that's why I'm just being a little cautious on the DIA, but that's where we are with it. With that being said, let's get into our 10-year treasury. So for our 10-year treasury on a weekly chart, this is still tracking well. Like I mentioned in the article of the week, that was something that they said, hey, pay attention to, is the bonds and the treasury yield. So as you can see, it's starting to drop. So they're like, hey, what's going on? It was just at 1.75. Now it's back down to 1.58. So people, investors are paying attention. Ultimately, I think it is tracking for it to ultimately come down to this 1.5 or 1.498 area. Then once it hits here, that's ultimately where it should find support like it did last time. So maybe we have another 2 weeks or so where the treasury yield drops going into earnings season. How ironic would that be, huh? The treasury yield drops for the 2 weeks that we go into earnings to let the market run up. Okay, so on to the VIX, guys. On to the VIX. So the VIX, same situation. Been tracking this, and as you can see, pretty much it's been hitting all of our levels. I think 16 and 15.4 was what we were watching to the downside. You can see it hit our 15.4, bounced up, and it closed right a little bit above the 16. So what we'll be paying attention to is we do want it to break 16 and have a nice close below 16. And ultimately push down to about this 14.43. If it does get a little bit of a bounce, the high side that we got to pay attention to is 17, and ultimately could break up to the 18.8, which is where the 200 exponential, 200-day exponential moving average is. So from a weekly perspective, the VIX can run pretty wild, but I think the market is really finding good footing. It's so much good news, and that's why so much volatility is coming out of the market, because things are actually starting to normalize. So I don't think we'll be seeing as wild, as many wild volatility swings like we saw during the pandemic. So that's what we'll be paying attention to on the VIX. So let's get into Bitcoin. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, it did what we thought it would do. It closed above 60 and then it went up to 65. As you can see, currently right now we're at 59,500, but let's actually take this down to a daily and really see what's going on here. So we still have Sunday, right? So Bitcoin goes 24/7. So as long as we get a close above this 60,656, I think we'll be fine. That will allow us to keep running up. We'll make another run at about 65,000. If we crack 65,000, I think it's on and popping to 70,000. Again, when you look at it from right now, we're looking good. So as long as this candle ends green, that will, and if we end right here, right, basically in this candle high, that does push us or allow us to go through here, and ultimately we can push to 70K. So from a weekly perspective, Bitcoin chart still looks solid. If we close here with a red candle, then ultimately I will be watching for the downside to this 55,300 and then 50,500. And if we go to our daily, just to show you how does that match up, you can see that's ultimately where our 50-day exponential moving average is, right around that 55,000. So As long as we bounce here, again, we're still tracking for 65 to 70K on Bitcoin. So let's get into Ethereum. When it comes to Ethereum, shout out to Ethereum real quick. Our target was 2,300. As you can see, we are flirting with 2,300. We're at 2,296. As we talked about, we closed above the 2131 and it pushed all the way up to about 2,500. If we go down to our daily, you can see during the week it pushed all the way up to that 2,500, and now over the weekend it's just kind of been drifting down. Looks like it'll come to about this 2,130 as long as we bounce here. Again, it's going to take us, I guess, higher than 2,500. The new target was probably going to be about 2,750. And then from 2,750, we'll see what happens from there. But Ethereum chart is looking really, really strong. And again, if you've been rocking with my Setup Sunday series for a minute, or at least since we started, we've been tracking Ethereum since it was down here at like 1659. Basically was at 1670. And if you would have got in here, I mean, you'd be doing pretty good. But again, this is not financial advice, so I can't tell you what to do. This is only for information and educational purposes only. Oh, excuse me. All right, guys. So for the chart of the week, this week, we're going to do AMD. That's right. We're going to do AMD. AMD is the chart of the week. So looking at AMD on the weekly, we closed at 82. I know a lot of people are in a love-hate relationship with AMD, but I'm here to tell y'all, have faith in AMD. AMD is about to do some things, all right? So when we look at AMD and where we close, from here, we've usually had a good bounce and went as high as $92 to $94, right? So we finished here, we kind of popped up to 87. But mind you, this week we did run because it opened here and it ran all the way up to 94, but then it came back down, okay? That was one time. Then you had this time when we closed and we ran smooth up to this 95 again, right? So that was the second time. So then after that, it's been drifting down. Now, what do you think is going to happen? We have this nice pin bar right here. After we've had a nice correction and a retest, and now we've had consolidation and accumulation, right? We have some buyers stepping in. Now what's going to happen is these buyers are going to push up the price. So my price targets for AMD this week is, of course, 85.35 is going to be our first level of resistance. So we got to get to 85.35. If we close at 8, or we can get a close above 85.35, I ultimately think the next push could be 87.88. However, because AMD has been so beaten down, I would not be surprised if we blew past 87.88 and went straight to 92. Because I just don't know if there's going to be a lot of sellers there like that. So what I'm really looking for is if this thing does bounce and it bounces pretty hard, then we get a close above 85. That thing could probably push to about 92. Either way, I believe within the next 2 weeks, we will see AMD at about $92 to $94, if not higher. Okay, if not higher. Mark my words. Remember, this episode will come out on the 18th. So today is the 18th. I'm telling you, in 2 weeks, we can see AMD pushing $94, and that's the chart of the week. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We're going to get into the profit and loss tool on E-Trade, or AKA the exit plan tool on E-Trade. And I think you guys are going to love it, so stick around. Okay, guys, so the profit and loss, aka exit plan tool in Power E-Trade. So before we get into the tool, this is Power E-Trade. So if you have E-Trade, how to get to E-Trade or Power E-Trade, first of all, log into your E-Trade account. On the right side of your account, you're going to, as soon as you log in on your homepage, you're going to see something that says launch Power E-Trade. Launch that. When you launch that, this screen right here is going to pop up. And once this pops up, you're going to basically find your homepage and you just hit positions and it's going to take you to your portfolio, right? So this is just one of my IRA portfolios that I have here. I got some small positions I kind of do some swing trading out of. So I figured I could show you with this. All right. So let's get into the exit plan tool and why it's even essential to even have an exit plan, right? So let's say you get into a trade and you want to have a stop loss of 20% and you want to have a profit target of 100%. Instead of having to watch the charts all day or watch your your phone or your portfolio all day, what if you could just do it automatically, right? Well, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So in E-Trade, we have this thing called the exit plan. And so with the exit plan, what you can do is essentially set your stop loss and your profit target at the same time. Now check this out. I'm gonna do it with my SPY calls right here. So just so you can see, here's my SPY calls. I have 3 May 21 430 calls. I paid $1.40. And so this is the trade. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna click on this. And when I click on it, zoom in, it's going to bring up this screen here, right? And so ultimately what you want to be looking for is this right here, exit plan. So when this comes up, you're going to click on exit plan. And when you click on exit plan, I'm going to zoom in some more, you now have this box here. And so what you can do is, so let's say I don't want to lose no more than, I'm willing to risk 20% of my trade, right? 20% of my money. So I'm willing to risk $84, but I'm going to make 100%. So my profit target is to double my cost basis. So I want to double that. I pay it $1.40. I want to make $2.80, but I'm willing to lose. Actually, if I put up, say $1, yeah, I'll be willing to go down to $1. I could do that. Yeah. See, so I'm willing to lose $40 in order to double my money. Right. So just to keep it simple, if I'm willing to do that, I can create an order. Right. When I create this order, now my order is going to come up. Right. And so what this does is it automatically sets my order for me. Part 1, sell 3 May 21 calls at $2.80 with a stop loss of, if it gets to $1, get me out. Okay. And that's how it works. And so then boom, I have everything is set. All I got to do is hit preview and it shows me. I will either be making $838 or I'll be walking away with $300. And then I can hit send and boom, it sets me up. And now my whole trading plan is automatically done. And you literally can do this for any position. If you want to say, let's go back. So let's edit. Let's go back. Let's do it again. So I want to show you guys again. Exit plan. So I'm gonna show you again. You click on the position, you go to exit plan. Let's say if I want to do 500%. All right, that's 114. Well, that's higher. So $5. Okay, $10. Oh, whoa, there we go. All right, now we're getting closer. All right, so let's say 850 because I think that's it. All right, so 850 puts me at 500%, right? And maybe I'm willing to risk 50 cents. So I'm willing to risk the whole thing. I just, I'll give me back $50, right? So that's what I'll take. So at the end of the day, the market would get 270 from me, but I would make 2100. So you can literally set your orders up this way. You can hit create order, and if whichever price gets hit first, it will automatically sell you at. So if it never reaches 850, ultimately, if it looks to expire, you're probably just going to cash out at that 50 cent, but you could miss out on profit. So you want to be realistic with your profit setting. However, I mean, this right here is a no-brainer. It's just a no-brainer because if you know what your profit target is, you can automatically put it in with a stop loss, create order, and sit back and chill. So that's really the profit and loss for the exit plan tool that I want to show you guys. So we're going to go ahead and close this video out, and I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope you actually use that, man, because that's super clutch, yo. Super the clutch.
All right, family, and there you have it. Setup Sunday for the week of April 19th. Like I said, I think things are going to get hot and heavy this week. Shout out to my guy, Cam. He said it's going to be the most bullish week of the year. Bold prediction. So hopefully this video was helpful. I gave some guys some tips, things to look out for. And as usual, make sure you like the video. Tune in next week for another episode. And until then, stay blessed. Peace out.
Run it up, run it up, run it up. We out for generational wealth. Who else but us? Run it up, run it up, run it up. This is first gen wealth building.